Good evening, Wetaskiwin, and welcome to the next R&R News interview with candidate-elect for mayor, candidate Tyler Gandam. Hello, Tyler.
How's it going, Scott?
I'm super good. How are you?
Great, thank you.
Never a dull moment, I'm sure, in your position.
Always lots to do.
So tonight, part one of Tyler's interview, we're going to learn all about Tyler, from where he was born, where he grew up, where he went to school, what Tyler's hobbies are, stuff you don't really get to find out about councillors when they're doing official presentations, just because no one really asks, I guess. But we're going to ask, and then part two, which is going to be released, I'm thinking October 6th, at the end of the Chamber's forum at 9 o'clock at night. All of the part twos are going to be hitting at the same time, so that after the Chamber meeting, everybody can go on and watch the Chamber meeting and then watch all the part two. So that's kind of what the plan is for part two. So in part two, we're going to deal with all kinds of city issues, taxes, economy, crime, homelessness, all sorts of things. But part one, we're going to learn about Tyler. All right. So without further ado, Tyler, let me just cue the first slide here. Picture number one. Tyler, where are you from? Maybe start from when you were a little Tyler person, and what brought you to Wetaskiwin if you weren't born here?
Sure. So I was born in Vancouver. We moved here in 1990. My mom's dad passed away when I was fairly young, so she wanted to be closer to her mom. My mom is actually from Wetaskiwin, so we moved here in 1990. And my idea of what was going to happen, moving me from a big city like Vancouver to Wetaskiwin, I was moving back to Vancouver as soon as I turned 18. And as you can tell, that worked out really well for me so far. I have absolutely no desire to live in the Lower Mainland, I think, ever. The pricing of housing is enough of a deterrent to not have me there, but I love going back. All of my dad's side of the family still lives there, so I go back quite regularly and get to visit family as often as I can. Nice.
Great. So that's where you were from. And what about your schooling? Where did you go to school? That kind of stuff.
Sure. So I graduated from Wetaskiwin High School. Following high school, I started working at a glass shop at Apple Auto Glass. I managed that for a few years, and then I went to the drilling rigs for a couple of winters, and then ended up working at a funeral home. So I've been in funeral service for about 17 years now.
Right.
I graduated from Canadian College of Funeral Service, so it's a licensed profession. So I've got a dual license, one in embalming and the other in funeral directing.
Nice. Cool. Or I guess I wouldn't enjoy that kind of work, but it's great that you do.
Getting to work with families is absolutely amazing.
Right. Yeah, I imagine so. Although they're in a very difficult time sometimes, I would imagine. Yeah. So what is Tyler's hobbies? What do you like to do when you're not working or doing council stuff?
Well, we just had a baby, so Adley's a little over 6.5 months old right now, so that takes up a lot of my spare time. If I get any spare time beyond that, anything outdoors. Love camping, hiking, running, walking, playing ball. I don't golf as often as I used to, but golf is still up there as well. So pretty much anything outside, and I'm happy to be there.
Right. That's great. That's cool. And fire department, you are still involved, right, with fire department, I think?
I am, yeah. I'm a captain with our fire service, so I've been with them for 20 years.
Wow. That's awesome. Great. What about committees? I imagine sitting as a mayor on a town, you're part of a lot of committees from allocated. So you can mention some of those. And then also, if you're doing anything on top of that, like if you sit on any other committees, you can tell us about all that as well. What do you do for community involvement?
Sure. Community involvement started fairly young with me. Probably the most significant, I think, that I started off on was being the president of our mixed slow pitch. And then I was a board member with the credit union. I was a board member with the Icemen. And then I was elected to council. And council brings all kinds of committees and boards that I sit on. So I was elected to Alberta Urban Municipalities Association as a director for cities under 500,000. So I represent all cities in Alberta under 500,000 with 2 other board members, which is an amazing experience as well. I also sit on their business side as well. So the Alberta Municipal Service Corporation as well looks after all of the insurance for many of the municipalities within the province. So I get to learn that side of it as well, as while I'm working with the board or the association with the other cities under 500,000. And I can list you off a dozen boards and committees that I sit on as the mayor. FCSS here in the community, our Emergency Advisory Committee, I'm also on the Northern Alberta Mayors and Reeves. I'm on Mid-City Mayors. I'm on Central Alberta Mayors. I've got a list, Musqueam Council Collaboration. I'm an ex officio with the Diversity and Inclusion Task Force. I sit on CAPE, which is Central Alberta Economic Partnership. I could bore you with all the boards and committees that I sit on, but if anybody's interested in all of the boards and committees that I sit on, it's on the city's website.
Right. You mentioned a couple of ones before you were put on them for mayor. Do you have any committees or volunteer stuff that you do in committees that aren't part of your job? Like, have you volunteered for any things that aren't city related? Or, I mean, obviously a lot of those aren't city related, but anything that stands out, or are they just kind of what you just explained already?
I guess it's kind of a gray area. When I volunteer or I'm helping out with an event or an organization, I think most people assume that I'm doing it as a mayor, and it's just something that I've always done. I've always been involved in the community. So any chance that I get, local fundraising and charities is a big part of what I get to do, and I've been doing that for a long time. I think the most fun that I get to do is the Race for Kids or fundraising with the Boys and Girls Club. Oh, you're
a beast at Race for Kids as well. I've seen your name pop up many times for Race for Kids. So
I love it, and BGC is, I think, extra special to me because growing up with mom and dad working throughout the summer, my sister and I would go to the summer day camps, and so growing up, being a part of the Boys and Girls Club, and then now being able to help fundraise and know how important it is for the other kids in the community to have something like that here makes it a little bit extra special that I can continue to help and be a part of the Boys and Girls Club. And the Race for Kids is just a chance for me to act like a kid again and run around and do all kinds of activities and challenges and maybe a little bit of competition too.
Right. Being a mayor, obviously it's kind of a full-time job, I assume. So you're not really doing your funeral home stuff right now, or do you still do some of that?
Just part-time with the funeral home.
When they need you.
I'm able to. Yeah, when I'm able to, or if they're busy, I help out as much as I
Sure.
can.
So you've been mayor for Wetaskiwin for 4 years now, correct? You were a council person before that. How long were you on council before becoming mayor?
So 4 years before that. So this is my second term of being on council. I did a term as a councillor and then a term as mayor now.
Awesome. And has the role of mayor, is it everything you expected in a mayor, like from the previous one's experience, how they taught you or told you how it was, or is it completely different?
Bill did a really good job of letting me know what I was getting into.
Nice.
And then multiply it by 4, I think. And I think it's no different than anybody else getting into that role. The learning curve to be on council was incredibly steep, and I don't think there's a learning curve to be the mayor. It's straight up and down, and you're drinking from the fire hose. It's
right.
It's incredible. But to be surrounded by an incredible team, both council and administration, the support that I get from both of them, especially when I'm working in the outside boards and associations, trying to raise the profile of the city. I get tons of support all around. So there's no way that I think any mayor could do it on their own. It's definitely a team effort.
Right. Awesome. And so what would you say your primary motivation? Why does Tyler want to be mayor of Wetaskiwin?
I think, it started why I wanted to be on council. I love the city. And I thought in my big picture plans, I was going to run for council later on in life. Like my age, in my 50s or 60s, or
a little bit older than me. Then,
when I was thinking about retiring, I was like, it'd be a really great opportunity to serve the community in another capacity, and I want to run for council eventually. I didn't like a lot of the way things were going, and so I thought I could sit back and complain, sit back and be unhappy, or try to do something about it. And in 2013, I ran for council and was successful, and was really glad that I did, because all of the work and all of the committees that a person gets to sit on and all the volunteering you get to do is wonderful and definitely needed in the community. But to get a true feeling of being involved and engaged in a community, being on council is probably the best way to do it. You're so engaged with all of the organizations, the churches, the special interest groups, the residents, the business owners, people looking at Wetaskiwin to make it their home, whether it's for business or to raise a family. You get the opportunity to meet with all of those people and just be that cheerleader. And that's, I think, my biggest strength is being the city's cheerleader. And I think that was why I went from being a councillor 4 years ago and wanting to run for mayor, getting to be the voice and be the spokesperson for the city and raise them up and be that excited person that brings everybody else up to the table as well.
Yeah, you bought me ice cream earlier this year, so that was fantastic. That was a good little treat. Thank you very much for that.
Ice cream.
That's right. That's right. And I feel extra special. I don't know if this is kind of not about you right now, but with me, for example, talking to a mayor in Wetaskiwin or a mayor and council, and having them want to correspond with a guy with a chicken hat and make silly videos with me, it's crazy extra special to me. And I appreciate every one of the council members that are currently on council, as well as yourself, for the willingness of wanting to do an interview with me. And I try to keep it as serious as possible, but at the same time it's difficult because I like making funny videos. But so thank you so much for being a good sport and always going along with my shenanigans, Tyler. Appreciate that.
Absolutely. But and I mean, the work that you do over and above, like you're extremely busy as it is, so the work that you do over and above to make sure that residents and business owners have the information and it's shared through social media is so fantastic. Like, this is exactly the kind of community and the kind of people that I want in the community, who are that engaged and want to be a part of it at any level or in any capacity. So I want to thank you for all the work that you do. You're welcome.
You're making me cry. I don't want to. Thanks. Yeah, you're very welcome. I have a lot of fun doing my videos and stuff. So, but and I felt, like I said, that the chamber, I thought, it's a good format. But there's 20 of you guys to get through 3 hours, and so there was just no way that I thought that people would be informed. So that's why we're doing this. Tyler, we're wrapping up the first part of our interview. I'm just give the people of Wetaskiwin a way to get a hold of you. I know that your address is listed below you on your side there for your tylergandam.ca. But do you want to list your other contact information?
You betcha. So I've got a Facebook page. It's Mayor Tyler Gandam. Comments, questions, concerns. I've had that page set up since I was running for council a little over 8 years ago. So I feel like it's a trusted source of information, and come there, and it should be a safe place to express yourself. As long as you're doing it respectfully, I'm happy to engage with you. And as most will know, I'll engage with you pretty much at any time. And my goal is to make sure that everybody feels like they're heard and has the correct information. There's a few other social media channels that might not share the same type of information. So I've got that. I'm on Twitter, not that I use it very much. It's at Captain Gandam. My phone number is listed on the website, tylergandam.ca. If you can't get a hold of me, there's something wrong, because
yeah, and you can also go to the City of Wetaskiwin webpage, the election page, and it lists all of the candidates' contact information, including Tyler's there. So thank you so much for doing part one time with me, Tyler. Just don't go anywhere. We're going to do part two right away, and that'll be uploaded and live October 6th is the plan, around 9 o'clock at night. Thanks again, Tyler. Wave goodbye to Wetaskiwin.